Welcome back to Coffee with Moshe, and I'd like to discuss a little bit of the Chinese influences that have gone into IKI Krav Maga. A few years ago, a guy came from China and he said, "I heard about you in China." And I said, "Oh, that's interesting. What did you hear?" He said, "I heard there's a guy who teaches Israeli Krav Maga in a Chinese style." And that was a wonderful compliment for me because, in fact, that is true. We do have Chinese elements in our style, many of them, and that comes from my years of being exposed to Chinese martial arts and Wing Chung in particular, and reading about Chinese martial arts and internalizing their message. When I lived in Brooklyn, and afterwards when I came to visit, I went down to Chinatown for shopping and to look for martial arts schools. I attended for a little while, a few lessons, a Chen style Tai Chi Chuan class deep in Chinatown. Lessons were in Chinese, so I didn't understand very much, but I observed the movements and I understood them. I saw the applications of them. And over the years, I studied a little bit of this and that, a little bit of Choi Li Foot, Wu Wei, different things. But in particular, I saw a flyer for a man named Sifu Chung Kwok Chow teaching Wing Chung style Kung Fu. And he was a direct student of Yip Ching, who was one of the two Yip brothers, sons of Yip Man, who was famous for being Bruce Lee's teacher. So I trained there for several years. Whenever I would come back to the States for a month, I would train with Sifu Chow. And there's my original Wing Chun t-shirt. And I would train there for a month. He had 3 lessons a week. I worked very hard over there to learn the Xiu Lim Tao, the basic movements and the concepts, the sticky hand concept, the efficiency movements. He talked about Bruce Lee, and he showed that Bruce Lee modified the original Wing Chun. I remember his exact words. He said, "Bruce Lee was a cheater." And he said, "But he was a very good cheater." And he was talking about throwing the punch and how the valley becomes the plane and so forth, the idea of the 1-inch punch, the idea of how this pushes forward and the generating energy in a small space. Sifu Chow is a small man, and he would generate a tremendous amount of force in his small movements, teaching us how to use the body. I remember one time we were working out, and he said to me, "I'm a little Chinese man, you're a tall man." He said, "I'm not going to let you fight from that distance where you could throw your side kicks and your spin kicks and your high kicks, etc. I'm going to play my game, the inside game. I'm going to fight my fight. I will beat you at my fight. I don't know if I can beat you at your fight." And that day I learned a valuable lesson. When it comes to a fight, a real fight, don't fight the other person's fight. Fight your fight. Dictate your terms. If you're good at a certain range, you choose that range. If you're bad at a certain range, avoid that range at all costs. Don't let someone draw you into the fight that's not your fight. And that's the same message for all of life. In fact, all of martial arts applies to life, and all of life applies to martial arts. I have a book eventually coming out on that topic. I wrote a long time ago. And it's the same idea. Some people feel like to walk away from a fight is cowardly. I view it the other way. To be drawn into a fight that you didn't intend shows a complete lack of control. The analogy I like to give my students is as follows. Imagine you're about to become engaged. You're taking the girl out to a wonderful restaurant, and some punk comes up and says to your girlfriend, "Hey babe, you want to be with a real man? You know, I'm the tough guy, etc., like Jackson in Bloodsport," and challenges you to a fight or challenges her, whatever it is, and draws you into a fight. What does that show? It shows that you're an idiot. Who had the greater will? He came for a fight. Did you come for a fight? No, you came to have a lovely dinner with your future fiance. Who got what they wanted? He did. Who's the winner? He did. Whether you won the fight or lost the fight, he won the fight, because his will was greater than yours. Your will was to have dinner. His will was to have a fight. He's in the mood for a Saturday night, so right for a fight, and he got what he wanted. A stronger approach would be to say to the girl, I'm sorry, I obviously brought you to a cheap joint. This is beneath your dignity. Let's go someplace else. And then your will overcomes his will. An important lesson over there.